Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the brutal fall of Constantinople. In the year 1453, Europe was shaken to its core by an event that would change the course of history forever. The mighty city of Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire, and once the jewel of the Eastern Roman Empire, had fallen after a brutal siege by the Ottoman Turks. For centuries it had stood as a symbol of Christian civilization in the East, but now it was captured by a rising power that would soon dominate the Mediterranean. This was not just a military defeat, but the end of an era. So buckle up because this is going to be one hell of a ride. Let's get into the video. On April 6th, 1453, a heavy fog hung over the city of Constantinople as Sultan Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire surveyed his massive army from a distance. With him were 80,000 well-trained soldiers ready to do his bidding. They had come to conquer the city and bring it under the rule of Islam. But standing between them and victory was the mighty Theodosian walls, which had kept the city safe for centuries. But these walls would not hold back the Ottomans for long. At the same time, inside the city, Emperor Constantine V Palaiologos was readying the defense of the city with only 20,000 men, including 7,000 elite troops, 5,000 volunteers, and the rest untrained civilians armed with whatever they could find. Against such odds, their only hope was the thick stone walls that surrounded the city. Constantine knew that he and his men were outnumbered and outgunned, but he refused to give up without a fight. He organized the defense of the city, setting up barricades and training the untrained civilians on how to use bows and arrows. The streets were filled with the sounds of hammers and saws as the citizens worked day and night to prepare for the coming storm. On April, the Ottoman assault began. Cannons boomed across the city as the Ottomans bombarded the walls with cannon fire. The air was filled with smoke and the stench of gunpowder as the stones of the wall crumbled and fell. Despite the damage, the walls held and the Ottomans were forced to retreat. But this was just the beginning. Day after day, the Ottomans attacked, bombarding the city with cannons and sending wave after wave of soldiers against the crumbling walls. Each attack was more fierce than the last, and the defenders grew weaker by the hour. Food and water were in short supply, and the constant bombardment had left many wounded or dead. Then came the fateful day when the Ottoman cannons breached the walls, and the soldiers stormed through the opening. It was a scene of utter chaos and destruction. The Ottomans were in, and the sack of Constantinople had begun. As the Ottoman army rampaged through the city, killing and pillaging at will, Constantine fought bravely, but he was eventually separated from his men and forced to flee on foot. He ran through the deserted streets, dodging the bodies of the slain and hiding in the shadows, knowing that if the Ottomans caught him, he would be put to death. But Constantine's escape was short-lived. Soon he was surrounded by Ottoman soldiers, and he knew there was no way out. He refused to surrender and was killed in battle. His body was thrown into a pile of corpses and left to rot. The fall of Constantinople was a devastating blow to the Byzantine Empire and the end of an era in European history. The city had been sacked and its people massacred, but the consequences went far beyond the loss of a city. The capture of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire, which had lasted for over 1,000 years. It also signaled the rise of the Ottoman Empire as a major power in the Mediterranean. But before we move further into the video, let's take a moment to appreciate the art of the Ottomans. Their skilled architects and artisans created some of the most beautiful works of art during their reign. From the intricate designs of the Topkapi Palace to the stunning mosaics of the Hagia Sophia, the Ottomans left behind a legacy of beauty that continues to inspire awe today. These masterpieces are a testament to the creativity and skill of the Ottoman people and a reminder of the rich cultural heritage of the region. Now let's get back to the video. The capture of Constantinople was a turning point in history. The city had been the center of the Byzantine Empire and the easternmost outpost of Christianity for centuries. But now it was under the control of the Ottoman Turks, who were known for their fierce warriors and their rapidly expanding empire. The capture of the city was a major blow to the Christian world, and it signaled the growing power of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans were a formidable force to be reckoned with, and they wasted no time in asserting their dominance in the region. Under the rule of Sultan Mehmed II, the Ottomans continued to expand their empire, conquering more land and taking more cities. The capture of Constantinople was just the beginning of their rise to power, and it set the stage for their domination of the Mediterranean. One of the key factors in the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople was the use of gunpowder weapons. The Ottomans were known for their skilled artillery, and their use of cannons was a major advantage in the siege of Constantinople. The massive cannons, such as the Big Bass and the Topkapi cannons, boomed across the city, shaking its foundations and causing widespread panic. The constant barrage of cannon fire was a terrifying experience for the citizens of Constantinople, and it played a significant role in the eventual fall of the city. The Ottoman Empire was a highly centralized and efficient machine. The Sultan was the supreme authority, and he ruled with absolute power. The empire was divided into provinces, and each province was ruled by a governor who was appointed by the Sultan. This system of centralized rule allowed the empire to function effectively and carry out large-scale projects, such as the conquest of Constantinople. The Ottomans were also known for their military strength, and their army was well organized and disciplined. The Ottoman soldiers were trained in the use of gunpowder weapons, and they were adept at using cannons and firearms in battle. This military strength was a key factor in their success in the siege of Constantinople, and it allowed them to defeat the Byzantine army despite being outnumbered. The Ottoman Empire was a multicultural and multi-religious empire, and this diversity made it strong. The Ottomans ruled over people of different religions and backgrounds, and they were able to maintain order and stability in their empire despite these differences. This tolerance and acceptance of diversity allowed the empire to thrive, and it made it a melting pot of cultures and ideas. As we reflect on the fall of Constantinople, we are reminded of the power of empires and the impact they can have on history. The Ottoman Empire was a formidable force to be reckoned with, and their conquest of Constantinople was a pivotal moment in history. The capture of the city marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter in European history. The rise of the Ottoman Empire and the fall of Constantinople had far-reaching consequences that shaped the course of history. The capture of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire, which had lasted for over 1,000 years. It also signaled the rise of the Ottoman Empire as a major power in the Mediterranean. The fall of Constantinople was a devastating blow to the Christian world, and it shook the foundations of Europe. The capture of the city by the Ottoman Turks was a major shock, and it forced European powers to reevaluate their strategies and alliances. The fall of Constantinople also had a profound impact on trade routes. The city had been a major hub for trade between the East and the West, and its capture by the Ottomans disrupted these trade routes. This disruption led to the decline of many European cities that relied on trade with the East, and it contributed to the economic decline of Europe during the Middle Ages. Despite the devastation and destruction caused by the capture of Constantinople, the city's importance as a center of trade and commerce remained. The Ottomans recognized the strategic value of the city, and they invested heavily in its infrastructure. They built new roads, bridges, and public buildings, and they made it the capital of their empire. The Ottomans also built mosques and other Islamic structures in the city, and they converted many of the churches into mosques. One of the most iconic structures in Constantinople was the Hagia Sophia, which was originally built as a church but was later converted into a mosque. The Hagia Sophia became a symbol of Ottoman power, and it remains one of the most famous landmarks in Istanbul today. The capture of Constantinople was a defining moment in history, and its impact is still felt today. The fall of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottoman Empire were major shifts in power, and they shaped the course of European history. The city of Constantinople, now known as Istanbul, stands as a testament to the rich history and cultural heritage of the region and serves as a reminder of the empires that once ruled over it. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more historical tales. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.